Welcome students. So, we are in the process of learning about the marginal costing, and in the say previous class I discussed with you some concepts, basic concepts and some formulas to say make use of this concept of or this technique of the marginal costing. So, now before we move to solve some problems and learn how to implement this technique for management decision making in the different organizations or different companies, I would like to discuss with you the say the break even chart, or other way around you call it as a cost volume profit analysis chart, right. CVP chart, cost volume profit analysis chart. So, break even chart, we call it as a break even chart, but it depicts many things, and with the help of this chart you will be able to understand certain more things also, which otherwise you were not able to, or those things were not clear to you. So, in this case how to prepare this break even chart or the cost volume profit analysis chart, we can do it like this, right. You have to create a structure like this. In this say x axis you have to take the output, and then you have to take the output that is in the units, output in units, and here you have to take the cost and revenue, cost and revenue in rupees or dollars, whatever it is given to us, you have to take it like this. And once you draw these lines, we will see that this is the fixed cost line, this is the total sales line, and this is the total cost line, right. And now we will draw a line here closing this side. So, now this I would say it is the up to this is the fixed cost, right, up to this is the fixed cost, and this is the variable cost area, this is the variable cost. So, it will be fixed plus variable cost, the total cost will be here, and in this side we will take the revenue. So, we will take the, for example, the units here, this is 0, then we can say it is 10, 20, it is 30, it is 40, it is 50, it is 60, it is 70, this is 60, this is 70, this is 80, this is 90, and this finally can be 100, you can say, right. For example, this is the number of units, maybe it can be thousands, it can be numbers, or it can be in any volume, in any amount, and here we take the things as, for example, it is in the lakhs 2, then it is 4, then it is 6, then it is 8, and it is 10, and finally it can be 12, right. So, these can be the revenue line, here is the revenue line. So, it means here we have taken the output in the units, and here we are taking the cost and the revenue. So, this line is the you can call it as the sales line, this line is called as the sales line, and this line is called as the second line, which you call here is this line is called as the total cost line, total cost line, sales line and the total cost line. So, this line is the total cost line, this line is the total sales line, right. Here is one angle here, it is called as the angle of, it is called as the angle of incidence, it is an angle of incidence, and if you take this point is called as the break even point. We take this and this is the break even point, right. Here it is some number of revenue of the sales, that by selling, for example, say 4.5 or the 6 lakhs of the sales, and here in terms of the units you can call it as somewhere 58,000 units. By selling these units in the market, we will be reaching at the break even point, right. This is the total cost line, lower line, and this is the total sales line, and this is the angle of incidence, and this area is called as the profit area, this area is profit area, this area is called as the loss area. So, you can understand here that we are divided the total cost, this up to this point it is the cost. So, this is the total cost line, and the total cost is the sum of the fixed cost plus variable cost, right, and after that means we have this total cost line. So, this total cost starts from there, means up to from this point to this point it is the fixed cost, and after that the variable cost starts, and the total cost line goes like this. This line is here, which is starting from the 0, this is a sales line, and because sales may be 0 even when there is a minimum fixed cost, because fixed cost always remains, whether you go for the production, you do not go for the production, fixed cost has to be there. So, fixed cost is here, this is a point of fixed cost, this is a point of the sales, when the sales are even 0, the fixed cost is also there, and when sales are going to come up, so it means the variable cost will also start incurring at that time. So it means initially your sales line is lower as compared to the total cost line, right. So what is happening initially, because the fixed cost is very high and we add up the variable cost also. So what happens that in the initial level of production, when it reaches at the break-even point, till then the cost is more and the revenue is less, sales are less. So this line is going like this, the sales line is lower than the cost line, and at one point of this operations, we reach it at a point which is called as a break-even point, means the point of the no profit or no loss. You can understand here that sales line is going like this, cost line is going like this, and at this point they are intersecting with each other. This point is that where the cost and revenue, cost and sales are equal to each other. So it means up to this point means the firm is not earning any profit, only the firm is recovering the cost. But if, for example, if the sales level is less than this area during this area, then this area is the area of loss, because here the cost is more, revenue is less, sales are less. So ultimately up to this point the firm has to incur a loss. At this point we will reach at the break even point, and after that the sales line, total sales line will cross and will go above the total cost line, and this area from the break even point onwards is called as the profit area. This is the total profit area, and as the moment we keep on going up, that profit goes on happening. So and this region, if you talk about, finally if you take this, connect this region is called as the margin of safety region. This region is called as the margin of safety region, because after this, once you have crossed a break even point, whatever the production you make beyond this point, that is called as the margin of safety area. And how we have defined the margin of safety? Total sales minus sales at the break even point. So this is the total sales line, and this is the break even line. So from this to this, whenever the sales are going to take place, this area is called as the area of the margin of safety. So we have already discussed almost all the things. Here one important thing left is, that is the angle of incidence. Now we are calling this angle because it is becoming angle here, and we are calling it as the angle of incidence. What kind of incidence? Means the incidence of profit. Angle of incidence of profit. So we normally write it as the angle of incidence. So basically it is the angle of incidence of profit. And how? Means the incidence of profit will be higher if the gap between the cost line and the sales line is quite high. For example, if you are able to increase this gap, that up to certain point of time total cost is more than the total sales, and after crossing the break even point, the total cost line remains lower than the total sales line. And if the gap between these two lines, if you talk about this gap, if the gap between these two lines is as much as possible, angle of incidence of profit will be that much bigger, right. So how apart they are from each other, these two lines, angle of incidence of the profit will be that much, because the cost is very much under control, sales are going up. So it means after recovering the sales level or reaching at the sale level, which is called as the point of break even. So after that, if the gap between the cost and the selling price is very high, so incidence of the profit, likelihood of the profit, earning the profit is very high. So it means this is the total chart which is called as the break even chart, break even point chart, or cost volume profit analysis chart. Cost volume profit analysis chart, because we are taking care of the cost also, we are taking care of the volume of the production also in terms of the value and in terms of the units, and we are taking the concept of the profit also, that how much profit is going to be there. So you call it as CVP chart, cost volume profit analysis chart, you call it as the break even point chart. But we are able to understand so many things, that how in the marginal costing the two costs are segregated, fixed cost and the variable cost, how then sales start going up, how the costs start coming up, and initially the cost remains higher as compared to sales. We reach at a point of intersection of the two lines, and here these two lines are called as the the point which is the point of the no profit or no loss, we call it as the break even point. And after that means the gap is, that is the between the cost line and sales line. So that gap, bigger the gap, higher the gap, more the gap is, angle of incidence of the profit is likely to be there, otherwise it is not going to be there. And if this gap between these two lines is lesser, so angle of incidence of the profit is that much less, right. So we have to increase the gap, we have to control the cost. You cannot control the fixed cost, but at least you can control the variable cost. So you have to control the variable cost, you have to keep the fixed cost under control, and this gap between the two lines have to be significantly higher, the moment it goes up or start increasing, angle of incidence of profit becomes bigger and likelihood of earning the profits by the firm goes up. So, this is the chart. I think you will be very clear now to understand that what is this chart or the break even point chart. I did not show it on the PPT to you, I prepared it myself here so that you can understand that how we prepare this chart, what is the meaning of this chart and how it is helpful in the important decision makings by the management of the different companies, different organizations, right. Now, after this means the conceptual discussion or the basic discussion, now we will start talking about the certain problems, right. I told you that after discussing the basic concepts of the marginal costing, techniques of the marginal costing and explaining you about the relevance of the marginal costing and knowing about different formulas and models, that how different concepts can be worked out under marginal costing for the important management decision making, say what is contribution, what is cost volume profit, what is the PV ratio, what is this cost volume profit analysis, what is break even point and how to find out the level of say sales to earn a desired amount of profit, how to calculate the contribution, how to calculate the variable cost, fixed cost. So, it means all those things we discussed conceptually and learned the formulas, and then I gave you one important thing. There is a most important thing you should keep in mind always as a student of marginal costing and the management accounting, that the marginal cost equation. Marginal cost equation, S minus V is equal to F plus P, right. So, this is basically the crux of the marginal costing. Sales minus variable cost is the contribution, and contribution should be equal to or maybe as much as higher if it is possible, it should be at least equal to the fixed cost plus the profit. If the contribution amount is very high, there is a gap between the sales and variable cost is very high, then what will happen? Fixed costs remaining fixed, you would be increasing the possibility of earning more profits. So, that means marginal cost equation is very important and we have to keep that equation in mind. The relevance of that equation is that, for example, if you know any of the three things, fourth can easily be worked out, right. So, this is a basic conceptual and initial discussion on the marginal costing. Now, how to implement those different techniques? For example, you talk about the contribution, you talk about the your say PV ratio or the say break even point or the margin of safety, how to make use of these different subcomponents of the marginal costing in the management decision making. Let us discuss some problems. I have brought a problem sheet here, it is fixed here, it is attached here. So, first we will understand what is the problem, what is required to be done, then we will go for the calculations, and then when I will do the calculations here and calculate certain relevant values, you will be able to understand that how the marginal costing is useful in the say day to day management decision making, right. So, now let us discuss these problems, and I will first take you to this sheet. This sheet is say having the initially I have got the 4 problems for you, but I will give you more problems also. We will add the one more sheet also, so that most of the concepts of the marginal costing can be covered here by solving the different kind of the problems, right. So, because I discussed with you that say with the help of marginal costing you can decide the product mix, you can say find out the pricing, you can go for the pricing of the products, you can take the say decision with regard to the limiting factor, or you can try to find out that say what is the contribution, what is the role of the contribution, and how to take decisions with regard to different products and services in the organization by using the concept of say marginal costing. So, these are some of the problems, relevant problems. We will start with very simplest problem, and after that we will move to the say a higher level also, but the concept here is that how to make use of the marginal costing in the day to day management decision making, right. So, for example, this is the first problem given to you here, and this problem is the following information has been drawn from the books of Beta Limited. It is a company, Beta Limited, assuming that the cost structure and selling prices remain the same in the period 1 and 2. Assuming that the cost structure and selling prices remain the same in period 1 and 2. So, this information is given to us. We are given the period 1, period 2, we are given the information about sales, we are given the information about the profit, and sales in the period 1 are 120,000 and profit is 9,000, and sales in the period 2 is 140,000 and profit is 13,000, right. So, now we have to find out certain things. First thing we have to find out, we are asked to that you have to find out what is we have to find out here, profit to volume ratio, PV ratio first of all we have to find out. Then we have to find out the break even point for sales, break even point for sales, and then we have to go for profit when say sales are of rupees 100,000, that is 1 lakh rupees, that how much profit will be there. We will have to find out that profit also when the sales are say 1 lakh rupees, and then D, sales required to earn a profit of rupees 20,000, and lastly we have to find out is the safety margin in the period 2, right. So, we will have to work out these say 5 things from this information given. This information given is very simple, not much things are given to us, but I think this information is very useful to answer these all 5 questions. So, let us do it and understand that how to answer these questions, right. So, now first question is that first of all we have to calculate the PV ratio. This is required to be done, that is the profit to volume ratio. Now, if you recall what formula I gave it to you to calculate the profit to volume ratio, I gave you the formula that profit to volume ratio can be calculated first in a very simple manner, that is the contribution to be divided by the sales, right. That is the one formula I gave it to you. If the information is not available with regard to the say for calculating the contribution, then you can use the second form of the formula, that is the fixed expenses plus profit divided by the sales, means fixed expenses plus profit is also the contribution, is also the definition of the profit this contribution. So, you can calculate the PV ratio that way also, or if both the things are not possible to be done, then the third method I told you that you have to use the concept of change in profit or contribution in the 2 periods, from period 1 to period 2 divided by the change in sales from the period 1 to period 2. So, I think whatever the information given to us here is, we are given the information about the sales in the period 1, profit in the period 1, and we are given the information about the sales in period 1 and sales in period 2 and profit in period 2. So, I think we can easily calculate the PV ratio. So, I will use the formula here, change in the profit in 2 periods, change the profit in 2 periods divided by the change in sales in 2 periods, right. So, you can easily find out change in the profit in 2 periods is how much is the profit in the period 1, this 9,000, and how much is the profit in the period 2, it is 13,000. So, what is the difference between these two? Change in the profits in 2 periods from 9,000 to 13,000. So, this is 4,000 rupees, and change in sales is how much? If you go back, change in sales is 140,000. It has become in the period 2 from 120,000 in the period 1. So, that change in the this sales is 20,000, right. So, you can easily calculate this ratio, and this ratio is, you can call it as 1 by 5 or 20%, 1 by 5 or 20%. So, you can understand the profit to volume ratio here is 20%. As the volume of production increases, we keep on manufacturing and selling more in the market, you will be possibly increasing the profit by 20%. So, it is quite likely that we are able to earn about 20% of the profit. So, you can say from the total sales price, 80% will be the cost and the 20% will be the profit. So, likelihood you can say broad, this is not exactly like that, but broad idea you can have from the profit to volume ratio, that what is the say the relationship between the profit and volume, and here we have found out that PV ratio is 20%. So, we have answered the first question. Now, the second question here asked in this case is what? Let us go back to the sheet, break even point for sales, break even point for sales, or the sales at the break even point, right. We have to find out the sales at the break even point. So, let us go for calculating the sales for the break even point. So, what is the formula of the break even point? If you talk about the break even point, the formula for the break even point is, say, break even point formula here is fixed cost divided by, if it is to be found out in units, then the formula is selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit, or if it has to be found out in the form of value of sales, then you can use the formula, and that formula is F into S divided by S minus V. and if these two formulas are not you are not comfortable to use, then the third formula is fixed cost to be divided by PV ratio. Fixed cost to be divided by PV ratio, profit to volume ratio, right. So, now we are not given even the fixed cost also, we are not even given the fixed cost also. So, we have to first find out the fixed cost or the fixed expenses, and what is the way to find it out? The fixed cost is equal to contribution minus profit. Contribution minus profit is the way to calculate the fixed cost, because from the total contribution we have to cover up both fixed cost also and the profit also. So, if you want to find out this information, then contribution to fixed charge, but here we are given the information about the profit, but we are not given the information about the contribution. So, again there is a question that how to calculate the contribution. If you are not able to calculate the contribution, you are not able to calculate the fixed cost. So, for calculating the fixed cost, you have to first calculate the contribution, and contribution is not given to us. So, we will have to calculate the contribution also. So, the contribution you can calculate here easily, that is the sales in the period 1. How you can calculate the contribution? That sales in the period 1, if you multiply it by the PV ratio, that is 1 by 5, sales multiplied by the PV ratio. So, that amount will give you, that amount will come here as 24,000 is the rupees 24,000 is the contribution. Rupees 24,000 is the contribution. So, to calculate the fixed cost now, I think we are able to go ahead. Contribution here you have found out is, that is 24,000, and profit we also know which area we have to find out. Break even point for sales. So, we are going to calculate the break even point for sales for the period 1, and if you calculate the profit for the period 1 is how much? It is 9,000. So, what is now the fixed cost? Fixed cost is going to be rupees 15,000. Fixed cost is going to be now 15,000. So, now you can, I think, find out easily, you can find out the, but we require here in this formula fixed cost divided by the PV ratio. So, we have got now the fixed costs also, we have already calculated the PV ratio. So, finding out the BEP will not be a problem. So, what is the BEP here? Fixed cost with us is, that is 15,000, right, and if you divide it by 1 by 5, so it will become 5 by 1 here. So, if you multiply it by this, so 15,000 multiplied by 5 by 1, it is rupees how much? 75,000. It is rupees 75,000. So, you can say break even sales here in this case are 75,000 rupees, that out of total sales of 120,000 rupees, out of the total sales, expected sales of 120,000 rupees, break even sales are how much? The 75,000. After attaining the sales level of rupees 75,000, we will be at the state of the no profit no loss. After that, when the sales will start moving up from the 75,000 towards the 120,000, then we will be earning the profits, or we will start earning the profits. So, in this case, say the break even point we have calculated is 75,000. If you calculate the break even point for the second period, period 2, where the sales are 140,000 and the profit is 13,000, again the same break even point will come, because change in the sales and change in the profit is also almost the same. So, you will again, you can calculate the BEP for the period number 2. For that, first you have to calculate the fixed cost, then you have to calculate the contribution fixed, and then calculate the fixed cost, and then applying this formula of the fixed cost divided by the PV ratio, you can find out the say break even sales for the period 2, right. So, that is your assignment, you can do it yourself. Now, we will go for answering the third question, and third question is what? Profit when sales are rupees 1 lakh. Profit when sales are rupees 1 lakh. So, it means in this case again we have to find out the amount of the contribution, right. We have to find out the amount of contribution here, and if you try to find out the amount of contribution, how you can find out is that contribution at means we have to look at what is the amount of the contribution. So, total cost is going to be the variable cost plus the fixed cost, and profit when sales. So, first of all you have to calculate the contribution ratio, you can say. So, for calculating the contribution ratio, it is the C part we are calculating. So, what you can do here is, that is the what are the total amount of the sales we want to earn? No, that is the 1 lakh rupees the sales, and profit when sales are 1 lakh rupees, and you have to multiply it with something, that is the this PV ratio. PV ratio is 1 by 5. So, the amount of the sales, to know the desired amount of the sales, you have to multiply those sales by the PV ratio. So, you can say here as the sales multiplied by the PV ratio. So, you can find out that what is the PV ratio here, 1 lakh into 1 by 5. So, this becomes rupees 20,000, right. So, this is the amount of the contribution we have already found out, and from this contribution now, this is the amount of contribution coming up from the sales of 1 lakh rupees. So, to find out the profit, first of all you have to find out the contribution from the desired amount of the sales, and desired amount of the sales is 1 lakh rupees. Contribution when we calculated here, multiplying that desired amount of the sales by the PV ratio, we found out here that the contribution is 20,000, and already you have found out something that is called as the fixed cost. So, profit is basically how you can find out. Profit is basically, you can find out is contribution minus fixed cost. So, what is the contribution here? Contribution here is 20,000, and fixed cost is how much we have already calculated. What is the fixed cost here? That is the fixed cost amount which we have calculated here is 15,000, right. So, the 15,000 means 20,000 minus 15,000. So, the profit is rupees 5,000. Profit is 5,000. So, it means, because we have already known it, that when you are going to have the sales of 75,000 rupees, we are at the break even point. Total sales are 120,000 rupees. So, if you want to earn a profit of 5,000 rupees, what should be the level of sales? You can answer this question this way also, or if the sales reach at the 1 lakh rupees, then what will be the level of the profit at that time? So, we simply, because we know the PV ratio, profit to volume ratio, because for a given level of the volume, 1 lakh is the volume. For given level of the volume of production, multiplying it by the PV ratio, you can find out the level of contribution, right. So, contribution we have found out is 20,000, fixed cost we have already found out is the 15,000, and now the profit at the level of 1 lakh of sales. So, what was the question here? The question was the profit when the sales are 1 lakh rupees. So, the profit will be 5,000 rupees. Next question we have to answer here is, that is the sales required to earn a profit of, sales required, D part we have to find out that sales required to earn a profit of rupees how much? Profit of 20,000 rupees. Sales required to earn a profit of 20,000 rupees. So, we have to calculate this sales required to earn the profit of 20,000 rupees. So, you can find out here that we will have to start with the first thing. First of all, you have to calculate the contribution here. So, what is the contribution? For this you have to calculate the contribution. Contribution is the fixed cost plus profit. So, for this part, contribution is the fixed cost plus profit. So, if you find it out, fixed cost plus profit, what is the fixed cost here? 15,000. What is the profit we have calculated already? Means if you talk about the profit here, the profit is 20,000. The profit is 20,000, sales to earn a desired amount of the profit of 20,000 rupees. So, the fixed cost is this, and this is the profit. So, from the contribution, what you want to recover? You want to recover two things, fixed cost you want to recover, profit you want to earn as the 20,000 rupees. So, total contribution has to be 35,000 rupees. It has to be 35,000 rupees. So, it means you can say your question is, what do you want to find out? Sales required to earn a profit of 20,000 rupees. So, you have found out the contribution here, and for finding out the sales, what the formula you can use is that the sales contribution divided by the PV ratio, divided by the PV ratio. So, contribution is 35,000 and divided by the PV ratio. So, PV ratio is how much here? PV ratio is, you can say 1 by 5. So, you will be making it like this, 5 by 1. So, this will become how much? Rupees 175,000 rupees. to earn a profit of desired amount of 20,000 rupees, we have to take the level of sales, and that level of the sales is going to be 175,000 rupees. If you make the sales of 175,000 rupees, then you are going to have the profit of how much? That is 20,000 rupees. And last I want to answer this question is margin of safety in period 2. Margin of safety in period 2. So, simply the formula is that is the sales in period 2 and minus break even sales. Sales in the period 2. So, what are the sales in the period 2? 1,40,000. And again if you calculate the break even point, I told you, then it will come out as 75,000 rupees. So, this amount is going to be how much? Margin of safety is going to be 65,000 rupees, right, because up to 75,000 rupees we will be at the point of no profit or no loss, and after that whatever the sales we make up to 140,000 rupees, that will be the margin of safety, and that amount is the 65,000 rupees. So, this was some basic say concept, basic example which I discussed with you. We started doing some problems in the marginal costing and learning about how we can implement the concept of marginal costing, and in the next class I will come out with some more problems to answer the different questions which can be answered with the help of the marginal costing, and then we will learn more about this concept. Thank you very much.